Hey, little skeletons. I'm Gina,
And I'm Amber.
and this is Weird True Crime.
I don't know about you, but I could use something a little more lighthearted after the emotional wreckage caused by our last two episodes. However, if you haven't listened to the two-part interview with John Palmer, please check it out and share it with as many people as possible. John has spent the last 3 years advocating for his wife, Katie, after she was hit and killed during their morning walk in April of 2020.
John is honestly one of the kindest people we've met, and we want to help Katie's story gain as much attention as possible. So please help us share her case. But in weird true crime fashion, it's time to mix it up with another What the Fuck Wednesday. We've wanted to cover today's topic for quite some time, and I am so excited to get into it. But before we do, we want to give you a little reminder that we will be at the True Crime and Paranormal Podcast Festival from August 25th to August 27th. If you're in town, come say hi. That's Austin. I don't think I mentioned where. It's Austin. We're in Austin, guys. Come see us in Austin.
One more thing before we share today's riddle. A large percentage of our listeners are on Stitcher, which is going away as of August 29th. We're available on all podcast platforms, so please be sure to subscribe wherever you switch so you can stay updated on the latest episodes. Phew, okay. I didn't know if I was going to get through that. Now for today's riddle. A young woman is at her mother's funeral. There's a cute guy at the funeral that she has never met before, and they hit it off. She was busy at the funeral and didn't have time to ask him for his number before he left. She tries to track him down, but no one knows who he is or how to contact him. A few days later, her sister dies. What happened to her sister? Stay tuned to the end to see if you got it right.
So, we've just spent the last 20 minutes trying to figure out how the hell this topic came up. But for some reason, we've been wondering about contract killing. Probably in passing conversation about a case or something, but naturally it led us to wondering about the history of Hitman and contract killing.
Totally normal things to be thinking about. Jesus. Okay.
I mean, in this realm, yes.
Yeah, in our little corner of chaos, it's completely normal. But, I know like next to nothing about contract killing other than whatever is depicted in like movies and whatnot. But what I do know is that most of the contract killings are over like financial gains, like a life insurance policy or something. And with hiring a third party to carry out the task, it makes it harder for the investigators to really put the case together.
Right. According to an Australian Crime Institute study done of 162 contract murders and attempted contract murders in Australia between the years of 1989 and 2002, the most common reason for hiring a hitman was, as you said, insurance payouts.
Hey, I saw that study. It also said that the payout for each murder ranged in price from $5,000 to like $30,000 with an average of about $15,000. And guess what the typical weapon of choice was?
I mean, if I were a contract killer, I would probably go with something that wasn't super obvious, but I'm guessing that's not the answer.
It was a pew pew.
Mm-hmm.
Guns. I mean, you think about movies and stuff, you've always got this dude on top of a freaking rooftop building with a sniper rifle and
a silencer. Yeah.
Silencer, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So that brings us to some of the most famous hitmen. And we're not talking about Agent 47 here either for any of you gamers.
Mm-hmm.
What's up? Actually, to be fair, I know none of these men on this list, and I can't tell you a single name that I recognize really. Wait, hold on. Hey, G, be a dear and remind me of your maiden name, please.
Well, it's been a while, but if I recall, it's Buccieri.
Buccieri.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. I totally didn't need your assistance there, but I just wanted verbal confirmation from the source before we delve into this juicy tidbit of information. Back during the 1920s, there were two brothers who worked as gunmen for none other than Al Capone. What were these men's names, you may ask? Fiore and Frank Buccieri.
Yeah,
Gasp of shock.
yeah. I mean, it's true. Fiore and Frank were, in fact, my dear, dear uncles. Growing up, I bragged about having uncles with ties to Al Capone. Needless to say, kids don't pick on you much if you say you have mob ties, so it
Yeah.
definitely worked in my favor. Fiore, nicknamed Fifi, and Frank began as gunmen for Al Capone in the 1920s, like Amber said. Fifi rose to top enforcer and lead hitman for Sam Momo Giancana in the 1960s. He was also part of the infamous torture and slaying of loan shark William Action Jackson when the gang believed he was actually an informant for the FBI. Jackson was hung on a meat hook and tortured with ice picks, baseball bats, a blowtorch, and an electric cattle prod, and died 3 days later. Turns out he wasn't an informant after all. The FBI dubbed him the Lord High Executioner in 1966. My big bad uncle died from cancer in 1973. Obviously, I never met the man, but it's kind of cool and terrifying to know I have ties to the Italian mob.
Yeah, so moral of the story here, don't mess with the Gina.
Mm-mm. No, that explains my Italian, you know, anger and personality quite a bit
Oh no,
actually.
it explains a lot. However, I do want to point out, like, this big shot gunman for Al Capone was nicknamed
Fifi.
Fifi.
I know,
You know what I think of whenever I see the name Fifi?
like a poodle.
Like a fucking fluffy poodle, exactly.
Yeah,
Oh
no,
god, I wonder
not so
how many
much.
people he bitch slapped because they made fun of him like that. Or they
Probably a lot.
probably didn't make fun of him because he would bitch slap them. Anyway,
Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
believe it or not, contract killing is still a thing in today's society. And going down this whole rabbit hole, it led us to a few very recent cases involving murder for hire. What's that? You want us to go over some of them? Well, I mean, if you insist.
Sorry, I loved it. Okay, let's travel to Miami, Florida in July of this year. Yes, 2023, where 18-year-old Jasmine Paez found herself in a little bit of a predicament. A single mom, Jasmine had been dating a guy for a while until he broke things off with her because she had a kid. It's understandable that a young guy like that might not be ready to settle down with someone who has a child. What's not understandable is the fact that this dude told her to get rid of her kid and he would get back together with her. Jasmine turned to Google to help find the answer for her troubles, and she stumbled onto rentahitman.com. Not wanting to be identified, Jasmine used a fake name to fill out the web form, uploaded a picture of her 3-year-old son, 3 years old, and provided his address and the date she would like to have him taken out. It wasn't long before she received a text message from one of the hired guns who sealed the deal for a whopping $3,000. That's gross. She then texted her ex boyfriend that it's being taken care of, it being her living, breathing 3-year-old child. The nerve.
Ew.
Yeah.
Well, what Jasmine didn't realize was that the hired gun she so eagerly talked to about killing her own child was actually a detective with the Miami-Dade Police Department. She was arrested that same evening and released a couple of days later on a $15,000 bail and told to stay away from the little boy.
Rightfully so.
Thank- Thankfully for small miracles.
Yes.
Jasmine was charged with solicitation of murder in the first degree and unlawful use of a communication device. Her court date is on August 17th. We're recording this on the 14th, so
Mm-hmm.
just a few days from now. And she's pleaded not guilty. So let's back it up a little bit here. How did this lovesick 18-year-old who filled out a murder for hire form online get caught? Well, rentahitman.com isn't really a website where anyone can request to take out their annoying spouse, coworker, or kid in this case. It's actually a website that was created by Bob Inez in 2005 as a cybersecurity company. Unfortunately, the firm fell apart, but Inez kept the domain running and didn't really think much about it for the next few years.
The name Rent a Hitman is actually a play on words. The company offered several services, including the testing of a company's online security measures by carrying out hits on them, or to optimize web traffic by maximizing the number of hits the site received. For some reason, Inez felt compelled to check the email inbox associated with the website in 2008, and that's when he found hundreds of emails from people requesting services from contract killers or looking for employment. Luckily, all of the emails were in jest, and he didn't find any of them to be alarming. But this was not the case when he checked the inbox again in 2010. He found an email from a woman named Helen who had lost her passport and was stranded in Canada. She claimed that three of her family members had screwed her out of her father's inheritance and she wanted them dead. Inez originally ignored the email, but she followed up with another message listing their names, home addresses, and other information. It was at this point that he started taking her messages more seriously and decided to follow up.
Inez responded to Helen's email under the pseudonym Guido Finelli, asking if she still required assistance and wanted to be in touch with a field operative. Within a few hours, he had received her legal name, location, and phone number. He turned her into the authorities and soon discovered that Helen was wanted in the UK for more serious charges.
What could be more serious?
Questions?
Yeah.
The woman was held in prison for 4 months before she was extradited to the UK for her other warrants. After potentially saving the lives of 3 people, Inez realized his little forgotten website could catch wannabe criminals. He edited the website's homepage to include jokes and clues to show it wasn't an actual murder for hire site. The tagline boasts it as a, quote, point and click solution, end quote, and states that it is 100% HIPAA compliant. HIPAA is an acronym for the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996, which is the federal law that requires the creation of national standards to protect sensitive health information from being disclosed without the patient's consent. Well, I mean, that's the normal acronym.
HIPAA, yeah.
In the case of the website, however, HIPAA stands for the Hitman Information Privacy and Protection Act of 1964. There's also a warning message on the homepage that reads,
Quote, It's common knowledge that the dark and deep webs are not safe marketplaces for carrying out nefarious deeds. These sites are often fraught with potential risks, including viruses, and fraud is rampant. There's no guarantee of privacy, and your information could be leaked to less than reputable websites, including law enforcement agencies. And that's no fun. The good news is that Rent a Hitman is a safe and secure option that's easily accessible on the World Wide Web. We place great importance on maintaining the confidentiality of our clients and ensuring their privacy is protected under HIPAA, the Hitman Information Privacy and Protection Act of 1964. In contrast, our competitors' websites can't make the same claim, and their credibility is questionable at best. So, when it comes to your safety and peace of mind, choose Rent a Hitman. End quote.
While it's implied that Rent a Hitman is a safe and secure site, anyone can Google the Hitman Information Privacy and Protection Act and see that it's part of a spoof website made to catch nefarious acts.
Yeah.
Unsurprisingly, plenty of folks don't do basic research, and the site continued to receive requests for services to harm others and, in some instances, themselves. Inez said in an interview with The Guardian that it can be hard to find proper resources and support for some of the people who reach out. He plans to create an internet safety program to help educate the dangers of the internet and to lobby for tougher laws for people who try to commit violent crimes online. When asked if he worries that he's setting people up by keeping the website up and running, he replied that the site isn't a ploy to dupe people who want to have others killed. Quote, these people search the internet to contact a hitman, end quote. The site isn't advertised anywhere, and he usually gives people a cooling off period before following up to see if they really do want to go forward with the request. Because, I mean, if you think about it, you can get into a fight with someone and like, oh, I hate you, I just want you dead.
Killed.
And like, lose your mind for a little while, do something stupid, and then you're able to like come to your senses and like, nah, that's probably not a good idea, yo.
Right.
So if they don't answer, he lets it go. But if he gets a response with more detailed information, that's when he turns it over to authorities.
Side note, it's so crazy to me that people can be so stupid. Like, to think you can just Google a hitman.
And if you go to the website and you look and read, there's like testimonials. It's clearly a spoof. These people, well, unfortunately, they probably could just not be well versed in the art of sarcasm or satire. So,
True.
I mean, a lot of these people don't have the IQ of a mayonnaise jar anyway.
We're not even giving the mayonnaise jar IQ. Man, that's rough. That's rough.
Just saying.
There have been several more serious inquiries since Helen's in 2010, like Jasmine Paez's in July of 2023. We want to dive into these inquiries because if anyone deserves to be called out, it's these asshats for actually believing this easily searchable website offers legitimate hired guns to take care of their problem. One such inquiry took place in February of 2018 when 21-year-old Devin Faber filled the form out with the intent to hire someone to kill his ex-girlfriend and her parents. Faber blamed his ex's parents for their breakup and wanted all three killed so he could take care of the ex-girlfriend's 3-year-old daughter. Not even his daughter, but her daughter. Inez notified the Augusta County Sheriff's Office about the inquiry, and soon after, a local detective was posing as a hitman and communicating with Faber. He told the detective that he could be a great father to the little girl, but he needed them taken out before he could do anything. Money was never exchanged, thankfully, as Faber worked at a fast food restaurant in Staunton, Georgia, and couldn't afford the deposit yet. He was arrested on February 12th of 2018. While in jail waiting for his hearing, he told another inmate that he would only receive probation and planned to kidnap the little girl once he was released. So he's not given up the fight yet. He eventually pleaded guilty to 2 counts of solicitation to commit first-degree murder in exchange for a 10-year sentence. Scary.
Honestly, do you think he deserves the IQ of a mayonnaise jar comparison?
No. I mean, yes. Sorry. Wrong answer. Yeah. I mean, and he gets arrested for it, and he's still like, oh, yeah, I'm still going to kidnap her. Like, really?
Oh, thanks for letting us know, buddy.
I bet that inmate was like, oh, I'm telling someone and getting my sentence reduced. Good day for me.
Dumbass. Well, in another 2018 case, 39-year-old Danae Wright from Oakley, Kansas was really tired of people talking shit about her in their small town.
This one makes me laugh. Sorry. This one is just so beyond. Anyway.
Instead of handling the situation in an adult manner, Danae turned to rentahitman.com, where she made an urgent request to, quote, shut down and take them out to shut up the drama, end quote. That was painful to try to get out.
I know. The words, the grammar. It's great.
Ms. Wright provided the names of 3 people she'd had enough of, and Inez was able to verify these were real people via their Facebook profiles. Once he realized the threat was real, he turned it over to authorities in Kansas, who took over the scheme, and a detective once again played the role of hired gun. Wright told the undercover cop that she wanted them shut down with guns, bombs, anything. She was arrested and sentenced to 34 months probation after admitting to soliciting murder in the second degree. While the light sentence and the scheme itself is pretty ridiculous, the most unbelievable part of this case is the fact that Danae Wright's day job involved taking care of other people's children. I literally need a red flag to just kind of wave in the air over here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is, oh, man. Also,
Mayonnaise jar.
Mayonnaise jar. Also, she looks like a winner. We'll post all of these people's mugshots, and yeah, mayonnaise jar. For sure. Sorry, I'm not normally like a shitty, hateful person, but these people kind of deserve it. So, it's fine. It's on them. Anyway, we have yet another one. In 2020, Wendy Ween of Rockwood, Michigan, filled out the contact form on the website after hitting what felt like rock bottom in her personal life. Like many of the others, she completed the request form using a fake name and asked to have her ex-husband killed. Unfortunately for Wendy, she did provide accurate personal information along with her fake identity, and Bob Inez was easily able to suss out who made the request. Wendy went on to discuss the hit with, you guessed it, an undercover detective, and provided her ex-husband's home address, place of employment, and his daily schedule. She also agreed to a fee of $5,000 to get the job done. On the same day that the fee was set, she met up with this fake hitman in person and gave him a $200 down payment in cash. Wait. She was, of course, arrested shortly after and admitted to the whole scheme. In January of 2022, Ween was sentenced to 7 to 20 years in prison. During a statement to the court, she said, quote, "If I could go back and change that day, I would." End quote. Sounds like she was going through it and for some reason decided that trying to kill her ex-husband was the right answer.
Yeah. I'm not sure what's going on with people this summer. Maybe the excessive heat is making us all angry. I know that I'm angry every time I have to step foot out of my house, but I digress.
Yeah, same.
But there have been 3 inquiries on the site since April of this year, 2023. 21-year-old Josiah Ernesto Garcia from Tennessee sent an inquiry to the website in April, but not for the same reasons everyone else we've talked about today did. Do you like how I just didn't even want to bother trying to pronounce that, so I skipped over it?
Yep.
That's how I roll,
I appreciate it.
because I have a higher IQ than mayonnaise shark. Garcia wasn't looking to take someone out. He was looking for a job. Hey, can't make this shit up.
Mm-mm.
According to the criminal complaint, Garcia needed money to support his family and began searching online in February of 2023 for contract mercenary jobs when he came across the Rent a Hitman website. He even followed up on his original inquiry with identifying documents and a resume indicating that he was an expert marksman and had been employed in the Air National Guard since 2021. An FBI undercover agent began communicating with Garcia, who quickly agreed to kill someone for $5,000. The agent even provided Garcia with a target pack of a fictional person and a down payment of $2,500. Garcia asked if he needed to provide photo evidence of the body once the job was done. Unsurprisingly, he was then arrested by the FBI. If convicted, he faces up to 10 years in prison. Now, look, props for trying to get out there and get a job to support your family, but
Yes.
maybe not
By killing people for
in a
money.
dumb way.
Yeah. I mean, he was just trying to take advantage of his skill set. I guess that's where he felt like, you know, he could provide the most for his.
Uh,
Yeah. I don't
Touche,
know.
you win.
maybe maybe open a shop on Etsy. I don't know. Make a YouTube account about like guns. That's a thing that people are into. Do that. Make some monetization ad money, you know? Like there are other options other than killing people, but like you do you, dude. Have fun in prison.
I like how your brain goes to, hey, make YouTube videos on guns because that'll get monetized.
Actually, they do. I've
Well,
seen
it
them.
depends. Oh no, the informative ones,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. But considering what topic of conversation he's currently a part of, I don't think that his would fall into that category of educational informative. So, just saying.
No. Not at all. Oh man. Okay. This one is strange. They've all been strange, but this one is strange. In June of 2023, this year, so just a couple months ago, the Storm Lake Police Department, which is in Iowa, received a report about someone who had visited the Rent a Hitman site twice. This individual was requesting the murder of a 7-year-old child. As
Oy.
in the previous inquiries, this person provided the child's name and address, along with several locations where the child could be found. After spending several hours trying to determine who this individual was, Storm Lake PD made a positive ID and the undercover work began. Once the requester verified that they did, in fact, want the 7-year-old child taken out, police arrested the 17-year-old suspect and gathered evidence from their cell phone. I don't understand. Law enforcement believed there was indeed a credible threat to the 7-year-old, but the 7-year-old obviously wasn't aware of it, and neither were their parent. And the teenage suspect was charged with solicitation to commit murder and is being held in a juvenile detention center to await their hearing. Of course, since both individuals involved are minors, we don't know any personal information like their names, faces anything. Unfortunately, we don't have any information about the suspect or intended target. We do know that they weren't related, so I'm really not sure how a 7-year-old could anger a teenager enough that like they would want him taken out. And I could make a joke being the mother to a 7-year-old, but people are sensitive, so I'm just not going to go there.
Oh, kids.
Yeah.
Have kids, they said. It'll be fun, they said. And that brings us back to the most current case against Jasmine that we spoke of earlier and her attempt to have her 3-year-old child unalived to get her ex-boyfriend back. While researching this case, we found a banner on the website stating, quote, "We're temporarily closing due to budget shortfalls and web form issues," end quote. The link on the banner takes you to a page where visitors can contribute to Guido's coffee fund. It goes on to explain that investing in the cause helps, quote, "Donors become active partners in our fight against violence and contribute to the safety and well-being of countless individuals. Each donation empowers us to expand our outreach, advocate for more comprehensive crime prevention measures, and support community-based initiatives that have the potential to transform lives for the better," end quote. While it's obvious to most people that this site isn't actually a murder for hire resource, the service request form does have options like service request, free consultation, employment inquiries, legal and alibi department, and service request cancellations. Someone who's just in a rush to take someone out may not study the site closely enough to catch on to the joke.
According to a news article by the NBC affiliate in Miami, Bob Inez has contacted Crime Stoppers several times about sponsoring the website. Crime Stoppers told the NBC affiliate that they, quote, "weren't interested in sponsoring the site because they work with the community to help solve crime. Therefore, Rent a Hitman does not meet our values and mission as they try to entice the bad guys to reach out to them," end quote. I can kind of understand where they're coming from, considering the site does still exist and the content is worded in a way that could potentially make visitors believe that it's a legitimate murder for hire service. But on the other hand, like we said, the site isn't advertised in any way. So if a person is searching the internet for a hitman service, that's on them, really. And if they're naive enough not to do any sort of research on the site or check its legitimacy, they deserve what's coming to them. What do you think, Amber?
Oh, 100%. Like, if you just need like half of a mayonnaise jar's IQ to look at the website and realize, like, this is not going to get me anywhere. It's satire. It's not going to happen. So it's not out there to purposefully catch and lure people in.
Mm-mm.
It's not a ploy. It's just there, and people are dumb enough to use it.
Yeah, and honestly, if it's a true like murder for hire resource, it's not going to be so easily searched.
No, like there's the deep dark web for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, all of this talk of mayonnaise jars has really made me want some mayonnaise in some form or capacity. So thank you.
Oh, I am legitimately making myself a sandwich with mayonnaise and mustard after this is over because I have some lunch meat and it's just calling my name.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Thanks for tuning in to today's What the Fuck Wednesday. I have personally been obsessed with all of the Rent a Hitman news stories for quite some time now, since I originally heard about it on That's Spooky, which, if you haven't listened to that podcast, definitely do. They're hilarious. And with the recent uptick of inquiries, it was definitely time to cover it. I'm sure there will be more inquiries that end in arrests because, you know, the lack of stupidity is never ending. So we'll be sure to fill y'all in when that happens. In completely unrelated news, I want to give Amber a huge thank you for the very thoughtful birthday present that she gave me that included handmade jewelry, including bracelets to replace the one that broke recently when I was trying to cut one of my dog's nails and he had a panic attack and broke my bracelet and it went splat everywhere. So it was so sweet and appreciated because that was like a very special bracelet to me. And now I have even more very special bracelets. So thank you. I appreciate it.
I didn't even see that you included that part in the script. You sneaky. Put me on the spot. You're welcome. Anyway, did you figure out the answer to the riddle? Let's recap it. A young woman is at her mother's funeral. There's a cute guy at the funeral that she's never met before, and they hit it off. She was busy at the funeral and didn't have time to ask him for his number before he left. She tries to track him down, but no one knows who he is or how to contact him. A few days later, her sister dies. What happened to her sister? Dun, dun, dun. She killed her to see if the handsome mystery man would come to her funeral, too. Did you figure it out?
She must really not have liked her sister all that much. Or maybe he was just really hot. I don't know.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to murder my frickin' sister, even if it was Ryan goddamn Reynolds.
No, same. Same. I mean, I wouldn't even do it for Cillian Murphy, but. And I also don't have a sister. Damn it.
Foiled again.
Oh. Okay.
Anyway.
Come back next week for another spooky, weird case. So until then, stay safe.
And make good choices.
Bye.
Bye-bye.